Well, good evening, good evening. Hey, I don't know if you ever had this happen to you, but have you ever been like walking along or something and all of a sudden kind of like the most unbelievably overwhelming thought kind of hit you? I mean, it hit you so hard that you kind of just ended up standing back and going, wow, that's awesome. You ever have one of those? Well, I had one back in 1965. I've had a couple since, but I had one back in 1965. In 1965, I was a 16-year-old Jewish high school student, and I'll save you the trouble, that makes me 54 today. And I'd made up my mind I wanted to be a scientist, and I had the opportunity to go to a 6-week summer science program run by the National Science Foundation at Virginia Tech. And so we were there, and in the afternoons we worked on individual research projects with professors, and in the morning we all studied a subject. And it just so happened that that summer the subject we all studied was enzymes. Now, I know a lot about enzymes after studying them for 6 weeks, and here's what I learned, a little bit of it. Enzymes are small protein molecules inside of your body that run around helping chemical reactions go faster. You say, well, how important are these enzymes? Well, they're pretty important. I mean, you remember that hamburger you had last Thursday? You would be trying tonight. You'd still be trying to digest it if it wasn't for enzymes in your body. Friends, without enzymes, not only could we not digest food, we could not walk, we couldn't breathe, we couldn't talk, we couldn't see. Every chemical reaction in your body is made possible by these enzymes, and there are thousands of them. And the interesting thing about them is that they are code specific. And what we mean by that is that every enzyme is coded to do only one job. And if that enzyme's missing, every other enzyme in your body doesn't pick up for it. You know, if they say, well, George enzyme isn't here today, so we're just going to do his job. No, it doesn't work that way. You know, if George is missing, nobody picks up and does his job. I mean, enzymes have a union contract, if you understand what I'm saying. And nobody does anybody else's work. And there are some awful sick people in our world today who are missing one enzyme out of thousands. There are some dead people in our world today who didn't have one enzyme out of thousands. And it's an amazing system that God has set up in your body and my body. Now, I remember learning all of this, and one day walking across the campus at noontime back to my dorm for lunch, and I remember it was a bright sunny day, and I walked up to the steps of my dorm, and I stood there, and I remember saying out loud, there has got to be a God. There has got to be a God. Now, friends, I'd never read the Bible in my life. I'd never been to church in my life. I'd never had anybody tell me about this God in my life. What convinced me that there had to be a God was not that I'd read the Bible or gone to church or heard a sermon or listened to Billy Graham or anything like that. As a scientist, I became convinced there was a God simply by looking at the incredible complexity of human life, looking at the incredible complexity of the human body and saying, from a mathematical, scientific point of view, I've got to be honest, what they taught me in biology class about all of this happening by chance just doesn't make sense. There is no way all of this could happen by chance. There has got to be a God.